Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the podcast Knowledge Empowers. Today with you is me, Kat. 안녕하세요. Then we have Baruch.
Hello.
And we have Kolaj.
Good morning, dobre ráno.
And as far as I remember, we discussed we'll do the continue of talk about the emotional intelligence.
Yeah. We started last time, and we talked about Goleman and his splitting of emotional intelligence into 5 parts. What is self-awareness, self-regulation, recognition of emotions in others, and then also playing with these emotions, or sort of not playing, but that's a strong word, but regulating their emotions, and then the motivation which binds it all together. And we talked about that there are emotions, there are feelings, there are thoughts. We don't know which comes first, what influences what. And then we've ended up with the basic emotions. Like, okay, there seems to be some basic emotions, common emotions, actually common feelings, so that we use the same variables from the previous video, the same feelings for everyone, or that maybe we can recognize these emotions in the same patterns everywhere, which isn't a question, but there is no question that we have those emotions. So to make it clear, and the basic emotions, or those emotions which seem to be pretty common, are the joy, anger, sadness, shock, or the surprise, contempt, and what else was there? I've missed something. Disgust, and fear.
I paid attention.
Yeah. Well, but there was something. And then Katka, you said something that you noticed that there is a lower number of good emotions compared to the bad ones, or positive compared to the negative ones. So, what are the positive emotions?
Happy.
What else?
Happy.
Okay.
And happy.
I don't think there are like positive emotions.
What do you mean?
All emotions, I think they serve some kind of purpose.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but when you have like sadness,
That's it.
Oh. Anger, and all of these they are like really, for me, like not really negative, but they belong to sort of that part.
Like, you don't want to feel those.
Exactly. And then you have happy. And what else? Happy and happy, It's just one compared to the other.
And then if you don't, like, let's imagine the world that there is no anger in the world, that we don't have this feeling, and somebody does something wrong to you, like, steal something from you, or gets ahead of you in the queue, and you don't have this, or you come across any obstacle.
Yeah, but I didn't mean it the way like I don't want to have those emotions. What I meant is just compare how many, let's say, negative we were able to name and give them some meaning and naming. How come we only have like just like sort of one or maybe two just happy, the positive one, just being happy?
Yeah, and that's where I agree with Baruch. I don't think that they are positive, or there is a split between positive and negative emotions. There is love. Would you say that love, the feeling of love, is what? Is it joy? No, it's not joy. It's a separate one, right? So I don't like. I totally agree with Baruch that there is no positive feeling. That every emotion can be positive and negative.
Depending on what?
Depending on the resulting behavior, because that's what gives the feeling the value, how you behave after you feel something. So if you feel angry and you just express it, in a healthy way, in terms that you don't smash any furniture or glasses or whatsoever, or beating somebody, you know, that's unhealthy explanation or unhealthy sign of feeling the anger. But if you say somebody like, hey, I feel angry because you said this and it makes me feel that, it's really healthy. And that's what people actually call radical candor. When you express those feelings verbally or in a
But you don't
meaningful
act on them, but you express them.
You can act on them like in an acceptable way, I would say. Like you can, because you are acting on anger if you are, for example, trying to protect yourself. And in that time, it's really useful and it has its purpose. If you are being attacked by a lion or by another human being, which can happen from time to time, and you act on your anger, then it's really like the meaningful way how to show it up, you know? So it doesn't mean that it's bad to, like, it's never, don't ever fight. If there is the situation about it, you need to.
So you disagree, Kat?
No, I'm observing what Kolach was mentioning.
So how am I supposed to get to this kind of, let's say, awareness, or it's not even awareness, it's already control of emotions? Because, for example, anger is a very strong emotion, right? So often people like snap if there's something angering them. So I think this is a good emotion to talk about when we talk about self-controlling. So what's the...
Yeah, here is the slight bridge between self-awareness and self-regulation. First, you need to be self-aware. And there was a nice study done in Sweden, I think, somewhere, some Nordic country, I think. And they did this sort of, how do you call it? People figures. Maybe you've seen this picture before.
No.
And this was the self-awareness exercise. This doesn't represent the temperature. This represents, like, if I feel anger, where I feel some sort of tension or energy or spike of something. So people were marking what they feel, where they feel it, when they feel it.
And for those who are just listening to us, we are looking at a picture of numerous bodies, and there is like a heat, for example,
heat
head
map.
and heart.
Yeah, it looks like a heat map. Yeah.
Heat map. Yeah. So that's what we are looking at.
Yeah. It looks like a heat map, but it's not a heat map. That's the strong point here. Like it's not body temperature. It's what they felt when they felt. So it was about self-awareness.
We'll include the link to this picture in the description.
We can. Yeah.
But interesting thing is, like, happiness, like Kat said, is the only good emotion. But when we look at the heat map, like, everything is light up compared to the other emotions.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You feel warm.
But again, like, if you compare the upper part of the body of the happiness, it looks really similar to anger.
Oh, yeah.
And the same goes for pride. So those emotions and the energy within us, or how we mark it, is really similar. So that's how you build the self-awareness, and you need to be really careful about it, so that you mark what exactly is happening in your body. I know that, for example, that's what I done with the anger, itself. When we are talking about that emotion, I was noticing when I feel angry, what I do in the moment. Okay, so I feel angry. I feel that my jaws are more tensed. I am clutching my wrists, fists, and I feel some muscle tension in my arms as well. So what I've done to self-regulate more on the terms of anger, I started to do relaxations. When I feel angry, when I feel some tension, I automatically release. And here is the funny part: your body and your mind need to be in sync with the feeling to leave it. So if they are not in sync, something is happening and you're obstructing it. So that's how you get from the self-awareness into self-regulation. So sometimes it's usually good to write a diary, emotional diary. So what I felt, when I felt, and what I did.
So
I throw my husband out of the lift, out of the flat.
Why? What I felt at the time. He said I cooked wrongly the meat.
I will not do it again. I have no husband now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually a good exercise. You can, through this, you can find your hot buttons. You can find the triggers. You can find what is triggering the emotion. What is triggering the feeling. If it's a word, if it's a person, if it's a day in a week. It's Friday and I feel happy already, it's Monday and I feel already some sort of the energy drained. It's triggering.
It would be nice to have an application like that would eventually do some analysis based on the diary and the emotions. Like if there are some common, let's say, situations or some kind of factors that will influence the mood.
Well, there definitely is. And I think that there are multiple models for that. One of them, what I remember, is a scarf. That's when some emotion is triggered usually. And that's when somebody touches your status, threatens your status, or what is it? Or certainty. Now we are in uncertain times, and I believe that most of us had some sort of emotion triggered at the beginning, whether it was some sort of anger or expectations, or I don't know what else was there. So there are definitely some triggers and common triggers which you can find out. Maybe, I'm not sure if we can list them all. I think it's different for every person.
Do you keep such a diary, Claude?
Nope.
So how do you learn about your emotions?
I've tried. I mean, I did it for like a day, 2 or something like that, and to see that, but it's a pain in the ass. It's tough to do that for
time consuming.
Yep, it's time consuming. It's hard to reflect every time on yourself, all the time, 24/7 and stuff like that. So I did it for couple of days, I think, and then I gave it up. I've more concentrated on the resulting behavior more. So I thought about what are my values and how I wanted to show. So I did not go through the self-awareness part that much. I concentrated more on the outcome, but that's who I am. So more.
And what is the ultimate goal of, so you said self-awareness and the other was self-regulation. What's the ultimate goal?
There is none. It's the one you give yourself. That's the ultimate goal. You don't you don't need to work on it if you don't want to, You can just scratch it off, don't care. Ignorance is a bliss, as they say. So why not? I mean, that's a way. I mean, it's your own decision whether you want to work on it or not. And that's I think the difference you will feel in the relationships later on.
I think it's a similar question like, why would I want to exercise my body? Right? Some people decide they want to be healthier for some reason. I think it's a similar thing with emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and here is actually that you touched, Baruch, the topic of motivation a bit. And I've heard a nice explanation of what motivation is from one streamer on Twitch. I don't know what I don't recall the name. So some Dr. K or something like that, or F, some alphabetic number letter, alphabetic letter. And he explained the motivation is sort of an feeling combined with thought, because it's about a resilient thought or resilient emotion within you that you want to keep it.
Mhm.
So like nobody persuaded me to do an exercise, but I want to, and that's the thought. And when any event comes and it strikes with it, like, okay, so I don't want to, it consumes too much time. Maybe there is something what takes its place, like, okay, now I'm going to play a video game, or I'm gonna eat unhealthy snack. But the motivation is that it comes back, and it kicks out, what was it? Like, I'm not gonna eat that snack because I want to be healthier, or I want to exercise healthier, or I want to, or in this case, I want to know my emotions, or I want to really be like feeling friendly, if I can call it like that. So I don't want my anger to be triggering this. I want to be friendly with people. So that's what actually pings then the events. Okay, so somebody comes and says that I'm an idiot. And I will be angry. Definitely. The emotion will be there. The feeling will be there. Both of those. But my decision, my motivation is that I don't want to punch that guy in the face. So, I need to ping it back. I'm angry. I feel angry. That's fine. It's completely fine. But I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to punch that guy in the face, or I'm not going to scream at him. I'm not going to yell at the person. And I'm going to do a different thing. So it's all about this, how I'm going to treat it.
For this negative emotion, in air quotes, do you think it's actually healthy? Like, I not act on them? Like, isn't it like if you keep the anger inside?
No, he recognized them.
Of
course, I think if you keep it just in yourself, not even recognizing it, not even dealing with your own emotion, that's when it sort of starts like bubbling, and then you snap. But if you recognize the emotion, you deal with the emotion, you express, but it can be within you. You don't just need to show it. That's how you release even the other hormones in your body. If you just keep it, don't deal with it, that's when, I don't know, oxytocin and other hormones are just building up. But if you work with your emotion, you are also balancing the hormone system. So he is dealing with his emotions. It just, he doesn't, for example, physically act on them.
Yeah.
For example, instead of punching the guy, he could go, you would go like, wait a minute, and he would go and run for 10 minutes, would
and
come
punch
back
the wall.
and totally and just with the running, he would go down with the adrenaline, would come back, hey, now we can continue. I don't want to punch you anymore. So.
I agree in a certain level with you, Kat. Like, self-awareness is a good way to first recognize that I feel that sort of feeling. I'm going through anger. I feel sad. I feel frustrated. I feel happy. I feel in love. I feel disgust. I feel that this is not possible. I feel frustrated. But for me, it's also important to act on them in a meaningful way. So not avoid the situation, but that again goes also with your own mindset, with your own belief of what you want to achieve. Because if you have a partner who's always constantly pissing you off because they don't clean after themselves, for example, it's gonna be strange because they are not gonna clean themselves when they communicate, when the discussion starts, and you suddenly feel angry and you start running those 10 minutes all the time. You talk with your partner, it's gonna be strange, like, hey, ciao, Peter, and I need to run, so you need to express that, oh, Peter, I feel a bit angry because you're not cleaning your shit, and you should take care, because you should take care of it because we are living both in this apartment. That's when you need to deal with it somehow. And because what happens otherwise is that, for example, what happened to me just a few days ago with a friend of mine is that he was calling with his client, and the client was sort of pissed, angry, something pushy. My friend like, oh, it was supposed to be done yesterday, and now I want to do this. We are delayed, and he was like, okay, we are gonna solve the situation. Hang up the phone. He turned to me like, oh, these clients are just so idiotic. Like they thought that they think that we are here just for them, and whenever they call, and he was angry, but he was transferring the anger to a wrong person. I was not the target, and suddenly we've got this emotion, this feeling between us, and it didn't serve any purpose. He got frustrated, he got angry because of the client, but he was talking to me about it and using me as the
pillow.
Second,
punching
the pillow, the punching bag, as the part where you can let the steam off. So, and this actually didn't help anything. He didn't improve his relationship with the client. The client is still having some sort of expectations. So the circle is there. That's what happens, or that's why I feel that having someone in your team, in the company, who is toxic is really bad, because you are bringing this toxicity home or to somebody else who is there. Somebody is pissing you at the work. What will happen if you need to treat them nice is that you will you will blow your steam somewhere else. I think that's the anger cycle. Somebody called it somewhere like that, or spiral. So it's good.
And that's why I go to Domova Schôdza. That's my
the
place
meeting
for
of tenants.
Yes. It's the best place. Come on.
Oh, you shut up. I can imagine.
I can already imagine like those people going back to their families. Yeah, you didn't do your homework, children.
Yep, exactly. That's what happens, because there is some tension which you need to release. You are gonna feel the anger, and instead of throwing it off or releasing on the right moment in the right situation to the right person, you are releasing in something else. Like you come tired from work and you feel really tired, and you see those dishes are not cleaned, and your partner didn't do that. You haven't done, you are so helpless, you are not helping me, you don't love me. And suddenly, like, you don't love me conclusion because of the dishes. Like, what happened? And you're just tired. Like that's totally normal and it's fine, but you need to be careful about how you are compensating these emotions, these feelings.
So I think that's one of the reasons, I think, why people should be aware of their emotions and know how to deal with them. If not for themselves, at least for the ones they care about.
Around them?
Yeah.
Well, it's always, I think, both, because what Kat described as closing the emotions within yourself, not talking about it, not even trying to recognize them, can lead to a certain moment when you don't feel basically anything. Because if you don't feel anger, there is no way how to limit that. I don't want to feel anger at all, and just this one emotion, and everything else is fine. Or I don't want to feel sad, and everything else is fine. You will either replace the emotion with something else, or you're not gonna feel anything at all, because you can't switch just one emotion. Or just one feeling. You're gonna switch all of those feelings. So suddenly, if you try not to feel sad, you're not gonna feel happy as well, and that's even more troublesome than actually not. That's even more troublesome than going through the sadness itself.
I don't know if you were that time with me, but I was doing burnout session, and I had a lady there who said for the past 2 years she doesn't feel anything, like nothing at all, no happiness, no sadness, like no emotions whatsoever. Were you there with me?
I'm not sure if I heard that story so many times that I feel that I was there. Or I've been there, I don't know.
And that's another extreme from dealing with your own emotions and learning how to work with them, or to become a better person if you want to. But also if you get to that point where you have no emotions, that should trigger you need a professional help, because it's really about the hormone disbalance in your body. That's why we have the psychiatrist here. Definitely go and search for the professional, because that's not healthy as well. We shouldn't be without the emotions.
Yeah, this emotional flatness is really dangerous, because if you don't feel any emotion, any feeling, you don't even feel motivated to do anything. Like, why should I do that? It's not going to bring me joy. I'm not going to feel anything. So why should I bother? And that's really then going to suicidal tendencies and stuff like that. So it's really dangerous. And
people either turn to alcohol or some drug abuse, or, for example, they start cutting themselves just to feel something.
Yep.
And for us for me, usually we see the cutting with teenagers, but I've also heard and watched some YouTubes, even adults start with it just to really feel anything. And for me, as soon as I see needle, I'm like, I already fainted. So I can't even imagine just voluntarily even like cutting myself. And it's really very strong.
Desire?
I don't know whether it's a desire. I don't think it's even desire for them, because it's only like they literally don't feel anything. So just to feel something.
And that's a strong
it's an escape.
Yeah, it's an escape.
It's an escape. Yeah. So definitely visit the professional, and that should even trigger. You need to learn to work with your emotion. This is not healthy. It's simply not healthy.
Yeah, I would go get totally professionals. Sure, for you, if you don't feel like you want to visit a professional, just talk to your friends. Just talk about it. Open to anyone who is close to you. Nobody's gonna tell you that you're trash or something like that. It's the best way to start talking about it, because that's when you accept it. That's the first step, like accepting that I have an issue. And then you can solve it. If you accept it, if you start talking about it, like, oh, I don't feel an emotion, or I don't feel that something is right with me, or I don't feel that this is how it should look, how my life should look like. That's the moment when you should start doing something.
And maybe that's how we should end the podcast.
We can.
Today my English is horrible. And I already had 2 coffees. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, guys, if you have your own thoughts or your own stories you want to share with us, please let us know. And we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we are on any other podcast channels. And with this, I'm going to say 수고하셨습니다.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, goodbye, everyone.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.